Here are the three books that have changed my life. I don't really want to talk anymore. I just want to get right into it. I don't want to waste you guys' time. So, the first book that's changed my life is called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Now, I say that this book changed my life. It is because prior to really getting into business, I've always dealt with anxiety and resistance, as Stephen Pressfield calls it, where I was like, I know what's good for me. I know what's actually gonna be beneficial to me, which is like, let's say, writing a YouTube script or coding or learning how to code. And what Stephen Pressfield says is that resistance comes up during these moments because of the ego, and that it's what holds many creatives back. And a lot of us can learn from this, especially entrepreneurs or people who want to be successful in business, life, whatever it may be. Resistance holds you back from doing the good things. And you guys probably relate to this, right? Like I definitely related to this where, like again, I had to like code, right? And when it came time to code, I would like not feel like it, or I had this like feeling of I don't really want to do this, but I knew it was good for me. And I found that very interesting. So this book really clarified like you're gonna have resistance when it comes to all your creative endeavors. And what I found so good in this book is that it teaches you how to overcome that resistance and become a professional. What he calls turning pro. It's a small book, guys, but I think this would be the number one book I'd recommend to anyone getting into the business space, creative space, want to start his business, anything like that. Only because Stephen Pressfield's form of writing and just the way he talks about just any creative endeavor is just so relatable. Like the pages are like really small, guys. You can get this done in like a day. And one final thing on this book, he compares what a pro does to an amateur. And when you really want to get something done, you have to start acting like a pro. And what he means by being a pro, it means facing your fears. Okay, that's number one. Facing your fears and not being afraid of the unknown. And also showing up when you don't feel like it. Many of us run away from that feeling of I don't want to code, I don't want to read, I don't want to do this. But the professional, where for a little bit, once a day, maybe 3 hours, 2 hours, change. You're like a professional now, and you just do the thing without you thinking about it. Anyways, guys, yeah, this is a great book. I fully recommend it to anyone who wants to get into the creative space. Now, the next book that I found extremely helpful and changed my outlook on life is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. Now, this is a quite hefty book. I mean, that book, the first book we talked about, took me like a day. This shit took me like a week. I'm reading a lot too. This took a long time, and it was like it's a heavy book. Nonetheless, guys, Jordan Peterson, one of the people of our times, and yes, he's been under scrutiny, and yes, I don't agree with him in everything, but who gives a fuck, right? I don't agree with my parents on anything, on everything, right? Does that mean I hate them? No. Read this book, guys. This book gives you the perfect, like step by step rules for like how to live your life, like a purposeful, meaningful life. The, like if you're going through depression, anxiety, you're lost, especially as a man. This book will change your life. And I'm not trying to be cliche or anything, but I'm telling you guys, this book is insane. Apply the things in this book, you're gonna be a different person. Like for example, one of the first rule in his book is keep your shoulders up and stand straight, or put your back up, stand straight, keep your back up. Yeah, what he means, he goes into like this whole thing about lobsters and how. Anyways, guys, but what I'm saying is like that's the type of stuff that he is teaching us. Like keep your shoulders straight, back straight. Because why? Because once you change the body and how you stand, you start to act differently. When you start acting differently, then you treat people differently. Once you start treating people differently, you get good communication back. And all of a sudden, you're not depressed anymore. You're getting better with your anxiety. You're moving forward. You're developing in your career. That's just one of the rules, guys. And it just made me realize like how one little change can change your entire outlook and your entire life just off based off one rule. And even like just the rest of the book, it was extremely just beneficial for really anyone who just wants to improve their life. Like even if I look back, guys, let's see. Like one of the chapters, I don't know why I just scrolled through it, but one of the chapters talks about how you should pursue something that is meaningful, not expedient. And I read that, I was like, okay. But then Jordan Peterson really has a way with writing, and he just touches upon a lot of things. He notes how what's the point of life if there's no meaning behind it? What we love and what brings us joy is stuff that is meaningful. When we have meaning, we have happiness. When we have happiness, there's joy, there's calmness. But when we experience and we pursue something expedient, like, okay, I'm just gonna work for money, I'm just gonna make as much money and I will not socialize. Many of us relate to this, and it's not good. Like it made me realize like I work a lot, but I don't socialize, and that's a big problem because I tend to have depressive episodes. And this book taught me that I should be more meaningful in my life. That's the type of stuff that is in this book. And any guy who's just going through some shit, read this book. It's a little heavy book, might take you a couple months to read, but totally recommend it. And finally, the last book that I just wanted to talk about briefly is called The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. Guys, this book is legit. It's the single best business book you could probably get, other than his other book called Unscripted, which I talked about in a previous video. Unscripted. But I think this one just hits business better, other than the other one. That one's more life. But The Millionaire Fast Lane, amazing, guys. Amazing. This book taught me that just the current dogma is like you save all your money, you invest it into Wall Street, and you just hope. You hope and pray that you get to your retirement and you have money. But I don't want to retire when I'm 60. Like many of you guys, I just don't want to do that. I want to retire when I'm like 40 or 30. And I think that's a goal for many of us. And what this book teaches me is that rather than hoping and saving, you got to play some offense. You got to make more money rather than just saving money and making your wealth that way. And really, to put it bluntly, this book just teaches you that the only way and the best way to make wealth is to start a business, because that is the only way you'll get outsized returns. He teaches you to have some sort of skill that you can make more. Like, okay, if you're like 21, like I'm 21 right now, I am working as a chef and I'm making 20 bucks an hour, right? This is actually true. Now I'm learning code. What happens when I learn code and web development? My hourly income increases. Now I'm able to make like $40 an hour. That's for the time being. And then he says that if you can get to that point, then maybe the next step is that you start a business that does not need you at all. Like you start the business and maybe hire a couple employees or you automate some systems, then bam, your time is like making money 24/7 and it's not on an hourly rate anymore. And he says that that is how people get rich. I think that's extremely valuable really to any of us that want to make money and are really pursuing entrepreneurship as a lifelong career. Anyways, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. These book, honestly, guys, I am not taking this shit. Like, read one of these books, and if you really mean it, they will change your life. Peace.